In last session, we studied the moral. In this session, we will continue the same chapter, unit number 7. So, in this unit, we will study next point is the motivation. So, why to study, why to important, why it is important to study, we will look in the step by step. So, motivation is basically a short term. In shortly, we can define the word motivation as will to do or to achieve something, and willingness of the individual to complete or to achieve a certain type of the task. So, if the employee is in less motivated state, we can define or we can measure by looking conditions such as some workers are coming late and we can find them that they are less motivated, or employees taking more sick leaves, or employees producing the lower quality products, etc. So by looking these type of the things, we can know that these workers are less motivated comparing to the other workers. So motivation is actually inspires the person, is actually impels a person to behave in a certain manner. So by improving their behavior, by inspiring them, the employee will work in a better, will improve their quality. Improve their quality is basically in a mental state, a mental condition. So motivation is actually intensifies the willingness of person or the employee to use his capability and his potential. So motivation is actually to boost up his potential. So analyzing the factors, measuring his state of the motivation, and analyzing his capability by offering them some certain skill sets or some other things, we can improve their potential. So earlier we seen the moral concept. So in that we studied the behavior of the individual while working in the group. So what moral does for the group, here same thing the motivation does for the individual. So motivation urges him, makes him to work sincerely and with loyalty. So here you can find it is important to study the motivation concept, that whenever the top management or the middle management is thinking to achieve the goal, there must be a discipline among the employees, there must be loyalty towards the organization. So by keeping this loyalty and sincerity, then we can achieve the organization goal. So motivation moves the individual into action. So motivation makes the individual to act something. So obviously here making him to do action means to do his job for which he has hired. So motivation is important for producing the right quality of the products for right quantity, to maintain the right inventory, and producing these products at the right time so that the organization or the enterprise creates the sales volume and will able to sell in the market. So what happens if the employee is not motivated? So obviously he or she will not accept the orders, or he or she will not get directed. So here getting directions means the organization or the enterprise management will driving the employees towards achieving the common goal of the organization. So some peoples are working by keeping some motive, and after achieving some motive, they will stop a they will stop for working for go achieving the goal after the motive gets satisfied. So for example, we can see general example, a detective or the police obviously seeking the motive every time for the crime happened, that is, so why accused did commit the crime, why there is the he committed the crime, the police and the detective is behind that motive, and once the police finds the motive, then they will get the explanation for the crime, why the crime happened, and who will be behind this crime, and what kind of the people will try to commit the crime by observing and studying the crime scene, and the peoples are suspicious for that crime. Here is a common example, a common ground taken to understand the motive. So motive is a reason for expression of a particular ability. So he had some motive, and to achieve that motive he expressed something, he committed a crime, or he worked in the enterprise, or he worked in to produce the great quality products to get the higher salary or to get the attention, etc. Here we consider the motive is to get the attention or to get the higher salary. So for what? Here the employee performed well to produce the higher quality products. So here is the expression is to produce the products. So motive influences the behavior of the individual. So you can able to know that how motive will create or will create a certain type of behavior in the employee or in the individual. So motive is actually an idea, or we can say emotion in the mental state of the individual, which prompts to take the action about his job or about his work. So it actually is psychological force which drives individual. For example, there are some innate human tissue conditions, like to avoid the pain. If he already know that by hitting a certain thing to him, he will get the pain, then there is a innate tissue condition that to avoid the pain, or there are some situations where he will need water or food or the sleep for a particular duration. So apart from psychological drives, there are some social motives. Social motives, to fulfill them, people or the employees are working to achieve these motives. These motives may be the self-respect, to gain the self-respect in the society, or to create or to achieve the self-respect in the organization, or to achieve the self-respect in the group, to get the social approval or the social recognition by the group or by the organization or by the society or by the group of individuals, etc. So by studying the psychological and social motives, we will study that there are two types of motives. The first one is the internal and second one is the external. So internal motives, these are motives which motivates the person internally. So for example, the ego needs. So ego needs of the individual, for example, they need to get the job of the choice. So by getting the job of the choice, their ego need gets satisfied and their motive get achieved. There are, for example, are external motives. As we discussed, these external motives may be the pay which they get for their work, the incentives in which they get for their um, well performance, the praise or the punishments they get for their contribution in the group or contribution in the enterprise. So after studying the type of the motives, we will study how to create the motive and how to create the how to motivate individual. There are two types, there are two ways to motivate the person. First one is to make them motivate by implementing the positive motivation or by negative motivation. So positive motivation, in this way we will convince the employees or we will motivate the persons by giving the higher salaries, etc. So in this way we will make them to get satisfied, we will try to achieve their motives, and by achieving their motives they will work in the best manner, they will improve their skill set. Negative motivation is the threatening about loss. So loss of the individual means to reduce to salary or cut down the salary, and creating a fear of loss of job in their mind, or give them demotion or demotivation or layoff or uh, fine. So after studying the various ways of motives, they in what conditions employees working, we studied by studying the concept motive. Next we studied the positive and negative motivation. So after that we can study the what are actually factors responsible which are affecting the motivation. So first one is the satisfaction and next one is the dissatisfaction. So these are two factors which affect the motivation. So satisfaction means how they are getting satisfaction is by completing by some accomplishment or by doing some achievement. So achievement may be in terms of the completing their task, job completion, or by solving a critical problem, solving a complex problem. So these are the ways of achievement. Advancement, that is promotion, offering them promotion, the growth of their skill sets by learning new skills, recognition from the members of the groups or from the members of the organization, that is acknowledgement. So this will create dissatisfaction in the mind of the employee. And dissatisfaction factors are sometimes the group of the employees or certain employees are not happy about the company's policy or the administration decisions in the organization. The job security, how the workers or the employees are feeling about their job security, about the future of their job, about the future of their in the company. The interpersonal relations, sometimes conflicts happens, and due to that dissatisfaction created among the individual. The salary. So after studying the factors responsible for the motivation, so which factors will create the motivation and which factors will lower the motivation, we have studied. And here our role is to improve the motivation, is to enhance their skill sets, to enhance their qualities, to give them motivation to complete the task allotted to them. So here we primarily focusing on improving techniques. So motivation techniques may be to praise the worker or to praise the employee and give them the credit of work done by him or her. So by here we are actually acknowledging their work, and by acknowledging and praising the employee we can motivate. So taking sincere interest in subordinates as an individual person, so middle management or the management or the supervisor particularly will go on ground with the employee or the worker as an individual, will work with him and will understand their work and whatever the conditions, and this will help to boost their motivation. To promote healthy competition in the organization, so in this way they will work hard by providing the opportunity for growth and promotion, to promote good working conditions. Good working conditions obviously impact a behavior of the person. So management will have to let the subordinate feel pride in their job completion. So delegate substantial amount of responsibility to subordinates. So in this way subordinate feels that they are doing actually something, the vital something in the department or in the organization. By formulating the suitable suggestion system and by promoting the good working conditions,